Don't lie, don't tumble dry, it'll be fine. Have another cup of tea. Intentions and excuses. What future are we leaving on too many? Have another cup of tea. Anxiety, fear, guilt, anger, fear, grief, turning away, looking away. This is a project about climate change and our human thoughts and responses to the knowledge of climate change. Seems to me just such an important issue. The big question that's just in my head all the time is, why is it that we all know, but we're not doing more? So this work is all about the anxiety that the knowledge of the climate crisis stirs up in us, and it can be devastating to live with this anxiety, as it was for me, and I can understand why people might want to look away and think about something else. The looking away because of the anxiety inside us is just such a huge, relevant part of the whole question. Acknowledging how hard it is to face those difficult issues, grief, fear, mourning, loss, and the anger that we're getting there and that the systems around us are not making it any easier for us to change our consumption patterns. The importance of accepting that and moving on with the anxiety, because we need to move on if we're going to take action. That's really the core message. The title of this body of work is Unraveling, and unraveling refers to the world around us unraveling because of the climate crisis. Also, unraveling refers in a more playful way to the threads that are in the work. As we go through the anxiety and we have to reform ourselves, we're unraveling and then remaking ourselves. I'm using techniques that I love. I love photography. I love embroidery and textiles. I was a textile artist many years ago, and I love using the sewing machine and textures. I've somehow found a way to combine them. I print the photograph onto fabric and then stitch over it, maybe add bits of fabric as well. The images have to be enticing to look at, because I'm trying to get you to come in, have a look, have a think, and then read the words. It's all about the words. The figure in the image is me, but don't think of it as me. Think of it as a metaphor for all of us, for what we're all going through. And I don't know if it would ever have got to be me in the pictures if it hadn't been for COVID and the lockdowns, and I couldn't get to other people. So I had to use what I had, and I had me. It gave me this wonderful control over the images. To be thinking about the climate crisis and what's happening and how the future is not known, to be thinking about that all the time, I have to enjoy what I'm doing, and I really enjoy the different aspects that all go together to make the picture. Paradise Lost is the image with the figure lazing on the sofa, reading the book Paradise Lost, ignoring the floods around her. This one was actually quite interesting for me when I made it, because it felt complete without any of the words. And to make all the work together cohesive, I knew that I had to put words on that because there were words on all the others. So I started to look more deeply at the book Paradise Lost, and it tells the story of Adam and Eve's fall from grace in the Garden of Eden, and how they were warned not to eat the apples because it will lead to their destruction. And of course, we know that using fossil fuels will lead to ours, and yet we still do. So the written message on the Paradise Lost image is helping ourselves to apples and coal. The image, letting go, really speaks to the heart of the whole project. Letting go of the future I expected. Anxiety, grief, fear, guilt, despair. Working through the loss to get to hope. And in this one I've used stitching and also put on bits of fabric, just playing around with the materials. The message in this image is so personal. It's about what we're all going through. So the picture is just us. So it is the face, but the face is obscured with all the words that are exploding. They're just so intense. Overwhelms is one of my favourites. It's just full of all the things that I feel I can't do. And I just thought, I'm just going to throw them all onto the page. Don't fly, don't drive, don't eat meat, use a tumble dryer, all these don'ts everywhere. And it feels overwhelming. The consumption image is really about playing with the threads. You can see, I hope, that the feeling of consumption is again overwhelming. It's driving destruction of the world. So that's the feeling that the figure is embodying. But it was really fun to stitch the word consumption at the top and to develop the threads, the way that they are hanging longer and falling over the body, part of the unraveling theme. The messages in all the images are my own words, but inspired by all the reading that I've done. But the one image with the words that were not my own, I could not resist using a tweet from Donald Trump back in 2014. This global warming bullshit has got to stop. To me, it's just mind-bogglingly ridiculous, unbelievable, and I just had to include it as a joke, really. I took a photograph of a skull and then I played around on the computer with textures behind it. It's also just graphically a shape that encourages a beautiful line of writing as well. So it's gentle and flowing, but also stark and scary. A world where we live with and protect the earth. I want to acknowledge that there is hope and that this is an opportunity for the more beautiful world that is possible. I think it's really important that we enjoy the world and we appreciate it, and that we feel that working through the anxiety, there is hope there. And this is an opportunity for us to try and live what we want the world to be.